You may have seen the new Disney Plus series What If? Well, come and find out what inspired that series as I take an advanced look at the What If Omnibus Volume 1 from Marvel Comics. And welcome back, all you Minties! Before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market on September 1st, and then a few weeks later in the book market. So, direct market, let's talk about that, because that's what this cover is. This is one of two direct market covers. This is from the classic What If Jane Foster Was Thor storyline, which we'll talk a little bit about when we look inside of the book. But I said one of two. That's right, there's going to be three covers. But before we look at the covers, I did want to show the spine of the book, because the spines of the books are going to be different too. So, this is one of the direct market covers. On the left-hand side is the other direct market cover, and on the right-hand side is the standard edition cover. Again, check out the spines, they're all different. So sometimes Marvel does that. The two on the left are only available through the direct market, and the one on the right available everywhere. So everything else is identical inside of the book. It's just the front and the spines of the books. So we looked at the front cover, and I did want to talk a little bit about that. First of all, I love this cover. This is the big John Buscema cover. I love the fact that they cleared it up. There's not a lot of word bubbles. We're just showcasing this beautiful piece of artwork with the title, What If, the original Marvel series. So here's what the spine looks like. Let's focus on that a little bit. Actually, let's do this, because there we go. What If, ? The original Marvel Series Volume 1. So we do have a Volume 2 solicited, coming out later on this year. But the fact that they called this the original Marvel series gives me hope that, hey, maybe we'll have the 90s. Oh, those were my stories. Here's what the back of the book looks like, and already using key words like multiverse. Seems to be very popular these days with the MCU. So the dawn of the Marvel multiverse, and it is true, this is before Elseworlds, which I know is a DC thing. Long before Heroes Reborn, or Age of Apocalypse, House of M, there was the What If series. And we'll talk a little bit about what that is here in a few. But just showcasing what the back of the book looks like. The book retails for $100. And these are the covers that are collected inside. Now, under the dust jacket, on the front, you have the other direct market cover, which is the cover to issue number 1. What If Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? What If the original Marvel series? No picture at the bottom, just a Volume 1. This is the classic spine. It looks like what they're using. And then the back. So in case you got one of the direct market covers, they'll be in the back all cleaned up. And that looks really nice. And again, the front. Alright, let's get this open and talk about this awesome series. Alright, so let's get this book open. We have these bookend pages here. What If with Uatu, right there, the Watcher. Classic Invaders story, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the stories in here, but I do want to keep a few surprises. By the way, this book collects issues 1 through 15 and 17 through 22. So here we have all the writers: Roy Thomas, Jim Shooter, Don Glut, Jack Kirby coming back from his Distinguished Competition days, and they tricked him to draw the Fantastic Four again, but in a unique way. You have these pencilers right here: Jim Craig, Herb Trimpe, Gil Kane, Frank Robbins, George Tuska, just to name a few. All the inkers, the colors, the letters, all the people that made this possible. And your table of contents right here. Kicking it off with What If number 1, and telling you where the page numbers are. And speaking of page numbers, this book has 776 pages. So, What If number 1. 1977, kicking off this amazing series that forever changed the way you looked at comics. So the premise of it is pretty simple. You have the Watcher, Uatu, right here, explaining what he is. This is a character that first appeared in the pages of the Fantastic Four, and his job is just to primarily watch and never to intervene with what happens in the world. He's actually going through the whole Marvel Universe, all these different possibilities with a possible future, possible past, possible alternate realities when you include the Squadron Supreme. However, he starts saying that one little thing, one turning point, can change However, he starts explaining that one little thing, one turning point, can change the outcome of the entire universe. So for the first one, he introduces us to the Fantastic Four. Just a quick little one splash page here. Introduces us to Peter Parker. So this takes us back to Amazing Spider-Man #1, where Spider-Man was like, hey, I need to make some money. I know what I'll do. I'll join the Fantastic Four. And of course, they were like, get the heck out of here, man. What are you, kid? Go somewhere else. Anyway, so in this reality, in What If, Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four, it's the opposite. They welcome him in. And they're like, yeah, all right, yeah, we'll take you in, sure. However, that changes things. It changes the dynamic of the team. Sue gets pushed back a little bit. They change their costumes, of course. They become the Fantastic Five, since there's more than 4 of them now. Yeah, like I was saying, Spider-Man takes more of the front. And actually, they focus more on fighting a bunch of Spider-Man villains more than they do Fantastic Four villains. But Sue kind of gets the backseat, and Reed keeps pushing her out of the way, saying, you're not really safe on going on this adventure with us. We'll take this kid that's underage. He seems to know a little more than you do about the real world. But that's exactly what happens. Of course, this drives Sue into Mr. Steal Your Girl himself, Namor. So I will let you find out what ends up happening with this particular story. But it's things like that. One little thing that changed. That changes the entire course of the Marvel Universe. Here's the Hulk. And this is interesting because this is what if the Hulk had Bruce Banner, Uncanny Omar talk pretty one day, Bruce Banner's brains. And that's actually been canon. That's happened in many runs of The Incredible Hulk. But the way that it plays off here is a little bit different. There are a couple of stories I do want to showcase. It's going to be hard not going through every issue. But let's talk about this one here. This is What If the Avengers Had Never Been. But one of the coolest things, and just because I'm into the Marvel Legends toys, are the different armors that Iron Man creates for the different Avengers. This is pretty much, they let Hulk go. Hulk teams up with Namor. There's a misunderstanding, and the Avengers start fighting. And then pretty much, what if the Avengers had never existed? But I did want to showcase the armors. The other book I wanted to showcase here is issue #4. What if the invaders had stayed together after World War II? So this works as 2 things. One, of course, to tell the story of what if the invaders had stayed together and never disbanded, where the president sends them overseas to the Pacific, and then he's like, hey, why don't you guys just come fight crime in the cities here in America? This also serves as Roy Thomas and Frank Robbins' kind of like prelude to their Invaders series. So that Invaders Omnibus that is coming out in January of 2022. This is the type of artwork that you're going to see in there for those people not familiar with Frank Robbins, because I know his art seems to divide people. There are people that love it, that think, he was such a standout artist because his art was so different from everything going on at the time. And then you have the people that love the traditional art, like Big John Buscema, the Marvel style of artwork. And Frank Robbins didn't fit that mold for them. But this story is a lot of fun, I thought. It's just taking these characters that had been part of a flashback in Avengers during Roy Thomas's run, and then said, oh no, this has actually happened. This is actually canon, and this is how it all happened, kicking off the Invader series. So this work that's almost like an issue 0 of that. You have Spitfire, Union Jack, of course you have the Human Torch, Toro, Namor, Captain America, Bucky, just to name a few. I think Wizard and Miss America, and yeah, there they are. But that was a lot of fun. Now, I can't talk about each one of these. I want to, but I'm just kind of flipping through here, showcasing the artwork. The letter pages are all intact, but they were already intact in part of the Marvel What If complete collections. There was these classic complete collections here. They did include the letter pages in these. But again, they show up in here, and I love the What If pages because most of the time it's a bunch of just people writing in with ideas for What If. And honestly, some of those ideas became What If stories later on. So I wonder if they looked at those letter pages and said, hey, that's a good idea, let's do that one, or if they already thought about it. So just in case I didn't make it clear, each one of these are just standalone stories. They take place in an alternate reality. They don't take place in the 616 universe. And each issue is a standalone issue. This is the one on the cover right here. What if Jane Foster had found the Hammer of Thor? See how many word bubbles it is? Just covering up this beautiful big John Buscema artwork. It's interesting that Don Glut wrote a lot of the stories in here. But yeah, it has a beginning, it has an ending. The Watcher, Uatu, introduces you to what the story is really about, or that one turning point that changed the story. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is a... There are some stories in here, like this one here. What if someone else besides Spider-Man had been bitten by the radioactive spider? This one works as an anthology, so you have 3 different stories. So what if Flash Thompson, what if Betty Brant, and what if Colonel John Jameson had been bitten by the radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker? And each one has their own little costume. It changes the story up a little bit. Some of them have a good ending. I will showcase the outfit that Betty Brant wears is just so ridiculous. But hey, you know what? I don't think I could do any better designing a costume. Just such an impractical costume. Where are the pockets? Anyway, but this one here works as an anthology. There's another one back here with Nova, written by Marv Wolfman. That one works as an anthology. This is the one with what if Rick Jones became the Hulk. And it is funny to hear the Hulk just say things like, yo, daddy-o. But the one issue I need to pinpoint in here. What if the original Marvel bullpen had become the Fantastic Four? So this is Jack Kirby coming back from his days at DC. He swore that he would never draw or help co-write or write Fantastic Four. But this is Roy Thomas kind of tricking him into writing a story about the Fantastic Four, but not featuring the characters of Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben, but featuring real-life people that worked at Marvel. So you have Stan Lee, Saul Brodsky, Jack Kirby, and of course Flo Steinberg, the fabulous Flo, becoming the Fantastic Four. There's a little box that gets sent to them, and it has the radiation waves that turns them into the Fantastic Four. That's it. This one was so much fun, and it's Jack Kirby writing and drawing the whole thing. And it just showcases what these stories are about. They're just about letting loose and doing whatever you want to, because this universe in the end doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the Earth blows up, because people still have the 616 universe to always come back to. And I think about this story in particular because, holy crap, can you imagine, like, if they were to do something like this today? Social media would bury them alive. Like, it's so bad that, you know, I don't mean to get preachy about social media, but it's just weird. We live in a weird time where things like this couldn't be fun anymore. If editors wanted to have fun and throw themselves into a whole story, a whole issue, people would be putting them up and just crucifying them like, hey, they're so out of ideas that they're writing themselves into the story. That hack Jack Kirby, who can't even write a good Captain America story, has written himself into Fantastic Four. That's how much this House of Ideas is out of ideas. And it's not just Marvel. I mean, DC. If DC were to do something like this, people would be just crucified for trying something fun like this. And it kind of sucks. This is a completely different time. This, you know, well, yeah, of course, we didn't have social media, so we didn't have anybody to bury alive before the book even came out. The book came out, I'm sure people were upset. And then some people thought, oh, this is kind of cool. But anyway, that's one that I wanted to point out. That's pretty much summarizes what this whole omnibus is like. It's a lot of fun. I love this. Oh, gosh. Yes, another one that, of course, is now canon. But this is what if Conan the Barbarian walked around in present time. Yeah, walked on Earth today. It's written by Roy Thomas. It's got artwork by Big John Buscema. This one has been printed before in the Conan, the original Marvel Years Omnibus. And it's just awesome. Of course, this now canon with the Savage Avengers. So this collects the first 22 issues, of course omitting issue number 16, but that one is collected in the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu Omnibus, or I'm sorry, the Master Kung Fu Omnibus, if you want to really go and own every single one of these issues. This one's fun. This is another anthology. This is like what if Ghost Rider, what if Spider-Woman, and Captain Marvel had become villains. Now, as far as the extras in the back, we have the introduction that was in the Complete Collection Volume 1, this one here, by Ralph Macchio, who, of course, was an editor at Marvel for well over 35 years, and does a lot of the introductions for the epics or outros for the epics. And then we have some original artwork in here. Not showcasing all of them, but then we also have some of the covers, yeah, for the Classics trade paperbacks whenever they recolor them, modernized colors. Now, let's talk about this binding, and look at this eye. So again, the book has 776 pages. Not much of an eye there. This one is printed at the Donnelly printer. There are some spread pages. Let's look at some in the front. I think each issue has a spread page. This is what the spread pages look like in the front of the book. And just a little bit of gutter loss right there. Towards the middle of the book. Right here. And I don't have many spread pages towards the back of the book, but I did want to showcase how the book lays over towards the very back with this last story, which has phenomenal artwork. I forgot about Gene Colan is also in here. There's so much talent in this omnibus. But that, as they say, is that. Now, if you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They pride themselves on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Check out the bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. CGN is excited to announce that they are now taking pre-orders. They're making it easier for you to ensure that you don't miss out on the hottest releases. CGN is currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, let them know that you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. This promotion is valid for U.S. customers only. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount and quality shipping and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and the build of this classic What If Omnibus. And I say classic because I really want the 90s series collected. Oh, that would be so awesome. That was my jam back in the day. But this original series here was so much fun too. I hope you were able to tell by the artwork and just by the stories how much fun the creators were having writing these classic stories. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Check out our Patreon and our Spread Shop. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. More importantly, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe. Much love.